The Morning Sports Desk, available on demand on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and WDCradio.com.
It is the Morning Sports Desk on a Thursday, the 5th of September. I'm CJ Baumgartner. There is Corey Tackman. Corey, we just want to, before we start, plug our Minnesota Vikings season preview that you can check out at WDCradio.com, Superstation K106 mobile app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as the Hubbard Radio Wadena YouTube page, because we did a little season preview talking everything Minnesota Vikings with me, you, and Zeke. And it was a really fun conversation, just getting ready for the season because football is on tonight. And before we get into anything high school sports related, NFL football is back. It feels so good. Chiefs and Ravens tonight, Packers and Eagles tomorrow, whatever. We got 2 football games on our screens the next couple nights, and that means 2 opportunities to go 2 for 2 on the Pro Football Challenge, which is back. Corey, you want to tell the good folks about the Pro Football Challenge?
No. The Pro Football Challenge is this year 2 or maybe even 3 of the Pro Football Challenge is back at WDCradio.com again, or on your app. And it's a pick'em challenge. So you go in, you pick the winners each and every single week. And if you get the most correct, you win a prize for the week. Weekly prize drawings. There's a year-end prize as well for whoever does the best throughout the entire season, and there's even a grand prize total. So, the Liquor Depot and Staples is a part of this yet again this year, and it's they've been a part of the Pro Football Challenge. They've been a part of the March Madness bracket, and Jim and the folks at the Liquor Depot, they just love this kind of stuff, and we just love having them a part of it and involved. $20 gift card to the Liquor Depot for a weekly winner. There's a $250 grand prize at the end of the season from the Liquor Depot. And there is a chance at a $50,000 grand prize. So it's all at WDCradio.com or on your Superstation K106 app. Get entered now, because the games begin today, Thursday, the 5th of September. And I mean, if you don't, it's fine. There's going to be weekly opportunities, of course, moving forward, but go do it. Go patronize the Liquor Depot. I know that their little billboard, their marquee sign outside of the Liquor Depot is promoting it as we speak. The sign is up, and it's fun, man. This is a fun, I like this more than I like fantasy football.
A lot more. I love it a lot more than fantasy football.
I don't know if it's easier or what it is, but I just don't care about other people's players anymore.
Yeah. I care about the Vikings and only the Vikings.
Pretty much. Check it out. It's the Pro Football Challenge, WDCradio.com.
Heck, I'm making the picks right now as we speak, going through some of these games, just making sure that my lineup. Is that the right word? My picks are in for this week. And again, even if you miss Thursday or Friday, you can still jump in and get your picks. You won't get points for the previous games, but you can still try and catch up because, again, there will be weekly prizes, as Corey mentioned, for the Pro Football Challenge brought to you by the Liquor Depot. $20 gift card to the Liquor Depot weekly, and the Liquor Depot going to give away a $250 grand prize at the end of the season. And I think some other stuff in there as well. So it's going to be pretty darn cool. So go make your picks right now, WDCradio.com, Superstation K106 mobile app. That is the place to go for getting all that football, getting all your football fix and get ready.
Something we didn't do. Boy, do I have to make my picks again?
Maybe.
What's going on here?
You logged in?
Well, here's something we didn't do in our preview.
Okay.
We didn't give our predictions for week 1. The Vikings at the Giants, Sunday, 11 o'clock pregame noontime kickoff on the Superstation K106. 1-0 to start the year, CJ?
Yeah, I think so.
It's got to be, right?
Look, I know that we could get into this or that about the Vikings, but at the end of the day, they're playing Daniel Jones, and this is not an Ed Donatel defense that they're going to face. And all the question marks about the Vikings, all this other stuff aside, the Giants are a mess. And sometimes it's not about how your team is feeling, but maybe how the other team is. I think the Vikings walk in and get a week 1 victory behind good old Sam Darnold.
Sammy G.
My mental health for the next 4 months is going to rest on Sam Darnold.
You better find something else. You better find something else.
I hope he does well, because then I can make Hey Darnold references all the time.
Hey there, football head.
Yeah, exactly. Man, do people remember Hey Arnold? Is that something we can bring up? Is that relevant in the cultural lexicon?
What was the school? PS what?
I don't know. It was just like a number, wasn't it?
Yeah. PS stands for, by the way, in the New York school system, public school. PS, I don't remember, but it was a very huge part. PS 132?
Was the show set in New York? I always just thought it was like generic big city. I mean, you could take it as New York. I don't think they'd be. I think that's kind of what they were winking at, but they didn't want
to. Queens or so. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, good. I don't know. We'll find out. I guess.
Oh, PS 118. Shoot.
And
its auditorium was named after Woodrow Wilson.
The worst president? Okay. All right.
That's a pretty good joke. Yeah, we loved Hey Arnold at our house.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously by the time I grew up with it, that it was already like kind of on its way out the door, and most of it was reruns, but hey,
Helga Pataki.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, they came out with like a Netflix put a Hey Arnold special out there. Like it was a couple of years ago. I think it was like in the middle of COVID, so it kind of got washed up with everything. But it was like they were gonna the final episode of like the series in the early 2000s hinted that they were gonna go find his parents, and then they just left it because they were going to do a movie. Because back then you were doing theatrical releases of stuff like with Rugrats and SpongeBob and all that. And they did like generic Save the Rec Center kind of movie instead of doing a jungle movie where they were going to go find Arnold's parents. So like everything, they decided to bring it back because nostalgia money. And there's a Hey Arnold special on Netflix called The Jungle Movie, and it wraps up the show.
I will not be watching that.
You will not be. Your kids will be watching while you're in the background.
That's fine. I am not a nostalgic person, generally speaking.
I haven't watched it.
I find nostalgia to be problematic and pandering.
Childish and pedantic.
Yeah. I don't have much time for that.
That's fair. Unless the Vikings put a throwback uniform out there, in which case I'm all in.
Yeah, that's cool. But that's just cute.
That just looks cool.
Yeah.
That looks good. That's not like a...
Right. Although, I mean, I guess I do wish that they did the throwbacks all the time. I've not been their uniforms. Their last couple uniforms have all been fine
for the Vikings.
Yeah,
when they went to like the block letter, like it was pretty generic in like the early 2000s, from like basically when the Wilfs bought the team to 2012, 2013. Those were fine, like acceptable.
The Adrian Peterson era jersey has not aged well. I do not think that looks good.
That's the jersey I'm talking about. Yeah.
It was fine at the time. I don't think it's aged well.
It just looks generic, right? It looks like you're ripping off the Packers almost.
I don't like the I think even the current one. The current one is just like a minimalist version of what a football uniform should look like.
See, I like the current one when it came out because I like they had the little horns on the uniforms, so it kind of felt like a Viking. The text that they had I thought was awesome until I realized that Nike just used that as like a standard text. Like if you look at the nameplate of an Ohio State football jersey and the nameplate of a Minnesota Vikings jersey, it's the same.
Sure.
It's the exact same.
But I like traditional, what I consider traditional uniforms. So like the Gopher game last Thursday night, did you see their uniforms?
Yes, I did.
Beautiful uniform.
They kind of just simplified the uniform that they've had for the last few years.
But it's also
decade,
it's a uniform that it seems like they've worn every 3 years for the past century. Like that's just a good classic triple stripe on the shoulder, block letters, bold colors, whatever. So I like when teams do that. I know as a Vikings fan, I'm not allowed to say this, but like the Packer uniform and the Chicago Bears uniform is how uniforms are supposed to look. Football uniforms. That is a classic, classy football uniform. Anything that the Lions have done has been weird. I don't mind like the subtle.
They've gone back to like their traditional uniform.
I don't mind like the subtle logo changes, right? Like the lion on the helmet has changed a little bit. Right. I'm so happy they haven't messed with the Vikings helmet. I'm fascinated to see what the whiteout uniform is going to look like.
Right.
I think that will probably be cool looking.
I think it'll be cool looking for a novel. See, here's the thing that I think sometimes uniform people get mistaken is people love the novelty of like doing it once and being done with it. And then some uniform. And then like the Vikings do a whiteout game once and it's cool. And you're going to have people going, they should just wear that every game this season. And it's like, no, like it's fine. They don't need to be the Cowboys and wear white at home. Like it's
going to look cool on TV. It's probably going to look really cool in person.
Right. It's the same thing, by the way, with the City Connects with the Twins and like Major League Baseball.
Sure.
In a vacuum of like one game, are those like
they're fun?
Good baseball uniforms? No. Are they for like one game? And by one game, it means like 5 games throughout the year. Like you're going to wear them once a month.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, cool.
I would actually go so far as to say the stuff that is stemmed from those uniforms is even better. Like the hats are cool. I've seen some sweet sweatshirts, shirts.
Are you buying that Twins corduroy, the white corduroy hat?
That's old. That's like 90s, 80s, 90s style hats. I like that stuff. I like what stemmed from those uniforms. And I'm sure in person they look sweet. That doesn't need to be the full-time thing.
Right, exactly. I don't think anybody's been clamoring for that, but it's like, the Padres had those weird ones where it's like it looks like have you ever gone to Taco Bell in the 90s?
Yeah. Babe, I am the 90s. Of course I've been there.
And a bunch of people were like, could those be the full-time uniforms? And it's like, no.
You're supposed to look like Pooh and Pea. You were brown and yellow. San Diego Padres and Southwestern in Marshall. Southwest Minnesota State. Those are the brown and yellow, and get out of my way.
Catching strays. Southwest Minnesota State.
I mean, they're ridiculous colors. But that's how the Padres are supposed to look.
Right. Because it's supposed to look like, and if you've seen the Padre logo, it like of the friar swing the bat. That's what an old-timey priest from the 1300s would look like.
Correct.
So if you're trying to do that, you've accomplished. It's why the Tigers should be like the blue is whatever, but they should always have orange in their color scheme.
Yes.
Like it's a tiger. None of it. Like,
there's a blue tiger doesn't exist. So have the orange. The orange needs to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I love uniform talk. I love it.
I love uniform. I love logo talk. I love team name talk, which again, like I don't know if this is true or not. I don't know. I'm stemming into some local territory now, so I got to be careful if this is true or not. Like the Nevis, I was in Nevis doing those football previews a couple weeks ago, and I looked at their water tower, which has a muskie on top.
Mm-hmm.
And like, is it supposed to like, do you think like tiger muskie would just be a better?
Well, I think
is that what it is?
I think the Tigers is an homage to the tiger muskie.
It's like a wink at it.
Yes, even because also their colors are like the green and gold colors are kind of. I mean, a muskie's not
green and gold, but like
you would associate it with like other fish. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I thought that was the case, that it was maybe like an homage to the tiger muskie, but it is a faint and distant. It's more of a mirage than an homage,
right?
Because they have a cat as their logo.
I mean, look, if we're wrong, somebody from Nevis let us know, and we'll set the record straight. But
there's a number of schools where I grew up. Belle Plaine is the Tigers. They're red and black,
mm-hmm.
right? Frazee Hornets are green, The Henning Hornets are orange. Like there
Yellow Jackets are yellow.
Well, turns out they got the color scheme correct, but there are a few like not exact matches, but that's also kind of the fun of it.
Right, exactly. I mean, you can get a little weird because at the end of the day,
if it was the Tiger Muskies, that is a perfect example of like, if you were, it would just make perfect sense.
Right, exactly. And look, all this to say that, I don't know, man, like we get worked up about a mascot for a sports team. That's not probably the thing at the end of the day, but also when I worked in Duluth, I think that northeast area of the state has some great high school.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Duluth has the Greyhounds, Duluth East. You have Duluth Denfeld with the Hunters. I mean, just what a great name. And then you start to get the Proctor Rails because of the railroad that goes through there. Okay, like it's not completely original, but like it's unique and different. You go up to the Two Harbors Agates. I mean,
it's awesome.
Perfect.
Well, and some of it is
over to Wisconsin. You get to Ashland, and they're because they're right on Lake Superior. They're the Ashland Ore Dockers.
Yeah,
perfect.
It's so good. And there's one of the things, I think a lot of the nicknames used to exist, but with consolidations and things like that, they've just had to go away because if 2 or 3 towns are going to combine, more times than not, you can't just take one of the nicknames. It feels like you're leaving everybody else in the dust and like only our history man. And now by the way, that exists and it's fine. And like for what I've known in my life, it's made sense. But I the one go-to I hear a lot around is Akeley. Akeley used to be the Anglers. Turns out perfect. Right. When you combine, when you're Walker Hackensack Akeley, you just got to pick. You gotta pick an animal. Now wolves is also appropriate, but that
makes sense, yeah.
But it's the Wolverines is a classic one. My high school was this way. Wadena Deer Creek is
I think Rock Ridge, the consolidation of all those schools up north of like Virginia and Ely or Evelyn and like some of those, they're the Rock Ridge Wolverines.
Yeah, Wolverines is, I think, kind of the go-to animal for a consolidated school districts.
Yeah, I think so. Bertha Hewitt Verndale, they're the Raiders. Like,
right.
Raiders is another one because Mille Lacs, Isle, and Onamia are consolidated for sports or co-oping for sports. They're the Raiders.
Yep.
Perfect.
I always wondered about the Bertha Hewitt Verndale one because Bertha Hewitt's the Bears. But Verndale is the Pirates. And that's a very slim margin between what a Raider and a Pirate is. And if there was any contention over, you're just renaming it your school. Was there ever a back and forth when that decision was being made? Or was it like, no, yeah, Raiders, it just fits. That's what it needs to be.
Good question. I have no idea. I will say though, and I wore like one of my high school baseball sweatshirts yesterday. The green and the blue with a black background works so well. So that's good.
Combination. Yeah.
It's a sweet combination. The thing I liked, and then we got a couple other games to talk about to wrap things up.
Whatever.
That we have on the air that we'd like to promote. I really liked when I can't remember if this was a Steve Reaver thing or a John Washala thing. Like, I can't remember if he was in between or like if they're just like whatever and it was somebody else's idea. When Bertha Hewitt Verndale for baseball had 2 different uniforms. One had basically green Raiders with a blue trim around it. And then it was a blue Raiders with a green trim around it on a different uniform. Yep. And like when we play games in Verndale, we'll wear the green one. And when we play games in Bertha, we'll wear the blue one. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I like when you can play around with stuff like that.
It's totally cool. The only question is, what do you wear on the road? But do you have a third uniform?
No, you probably just like, well, we're only playing one game at home this week and it's in Verndale. So the road game will wear the blue one. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. I remember that. That wasn't that long ago when those. No,
I think they got new uniforms now, but like it was their previous iteration.
It was cool. That was a sweet idea for sure.
Yeah. All right, we got a couple games on the air that we want to talk about tonight. I know Corey, you're back out on the. You're going to be doing our games of the week this fall, and where are you going on the road today?
I have a kickoff or a serve off on the Park Region Conference volleyball season tonight as the Menahga Braves host the Sebeka Trojans. Menahga 0-1 to start the year, according to the Minnesota State High School League new coach, Jody Tolkinen, the head coach for Menahga this year. They lost 3-0 to Holly. That would have been a Section 8 AA matchup. I think Holly's got they've had a good run of girls sports over the last couple of years, and I think this is another one of those years. They're early season, but I think probably expected to be towards the top of that 8 AA section. For Sebeka, also 0-1 on the year. They lost to Kenyon Wanamingo.
Fun town name, by the way.
Super fun town name. As a matter of fact, there are some. What's the date here today? The 5th.
The 5th.
There are some other dates on the schedule that I don't have scores for from Minnesota Scores, but that's okay. They've always been super reliable, and I'm sure it'll get updated by the time that game tonight. But those are matchups against Walker Hackensack Akeley and Browerville Eagle Valley. Now, I would suspect that in the 5A bracket, 5A section tournament, as we're weirdly not that far away from that, it's like 5 weeks away. Browerville Eagle Valley's got another nice team this year. Sebeka has a nice team this year. They return a lot of people. Finally, a season of full health, as far as I know. They were fully healthy a year ago, but it was off of a previous year of a kind of a major injury, I know, for their setter Jalen Lilquist. So I think I kind of expect good things out of that Sebeka Trojans program. I also saw maybe a week ago, it was announced that Anna Kapulyu has signed to play volleyball at Valley City.
All right.
I think I'm getting that correct. So congratulations to her. So we'll get to see a little college volleyball player tonight. And that's what I know so far about those two matchups. We'll figure out the rest today and before tonight. But it's the kickoff to the Park Region Conference season, 7 o'clock pregame, 7:15 first serve on 105.9 FM, the Superstation K106, on the Superstation K106 app, and WDenaRadio.com.
All right. And over on KWAD, AM 920, 101.7 FM, also streaming online at WDenaRadio.com/KWAD. We have another Park Region Conference kickoff between the defending PRC champion Wadena Deer Creek Wolverines and the Pillager Huskies. Now, last season, the Wolverines did beat the Huskies 3-0. They played that game in Wadena a season ago, and it appears that they're going to play them in Pillager here tonight with this game. And so as we get ready for the start of this one, I mean, Pillager on the season is 2-4, and they've played a lot of their games in a Royalton tournament. They lost to Malacca and Royalton and Pierce, but they did beat Bram. All those games finished 2-0. They had a matchup against Long Prairie Gray Eagle that we do not have a score for there, but they did go to Uppsala, where they beat them 3-0, and then they lost in 5 sets to Crosby Ironton on the road. So this is a Pillager team that last season kind of had to take their lumps and were playing a lot of younger girls and are now starting to, you don't make that big jump up, but just starting to see that little kind of stepping stone and see things from here. So I'm obviously going to play a Wadena Deer Creek team that is 3-0 on the season and 3-0 in 8 AA play with 4-set victories against East Grand, Perham, and DGF. So now they go on the road again to take on the Huskies tonight. It is a 7 o'clock pregame, 7:15 first serve that you can listen to on KWAD. Wadena Deer Creek going to try and defend that Park Region Conference title once again, and that title defense starts off tonight. So here we go, conference volleyball. And like you've talked about, Corey, obviously Wadena Deer Creek, the favorites to repeat as Park Region Conference champions, but it'll be a year where we're going to have some fluidity with some of these teams in the PRC and just kind of see where some teams shake out.
I can't wait. The PRC has churned out really good volleyball every year over the past decade that I've been here, and it obviously goes back farther than that. So we're now a couple weeks into it too. So this is where the good volleyball should start to happen. We're out of the hopefully working some kinks out, and there will still be some obviously that need to happen. I don't want to be rude, but we're there. It should be. These are the ones that count.
Right. So here we go.
Here
we go. You can check out the broadcast schedule and see where we're going for other volleyball games and football games throughout the next month and a half over at WDCradio.com and the Superstation K106 mobile app. I'm CJ, that's Corey. This has been the Morning Sports Desk on a Thursday, September 5th.
The Morning Sports Desk, available on demand on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and WDCradio.com.